We're going to be talking about how to not go dark this summer and build that trust container your business needs before fall. But more importantly, how to speak to your ideal client in the season that she is in and get into the operating reality of your ideal client. Hello, watered by the word. I love that. What is your name so I can call you by your name as well? Hi, Anna. Hi, Margaret. I always forget that I'm going live on Substack and my cameras need and the lighting needs to be set up differently. But we're gonna roll with it. It's really dark on my screen, but hopefully you can see me. Grab a piece of paper because I'm gonna be walking through the trust pathway map in order to speak to your level 10 ideal client for the months of June, July, August, and September, because your ideal client is in a different operating reality than they were back in January. We're going to be talking about how not to go dark this summer and build a trust container for your business and what your business needs before fall, but also, just as important, how to understand and speak to your current level 10 ideal client and the current operating reality that they are in. Grab a piece of paper. I'm going to walk you through some questions towards the middle of the session. We're going to probably be on about 60 minutes or maybe a little bit less, depending on one, how fast I talk, two, how many questions you have at the end. And no, if you're new to my world, I will quickly introduce myself, but know that I will give you the teaching tool that we'll walk through, and you're going to have the replay. And what I love about what I can do now from my notes based off from co-creating with you, I can throw those into Claude and have it create kind of a workbook for you so that those one watching the replay or two you come back to listen because repetition is the repetition is the mother of skill, right? I always listen to something more than once, and I know a lot of you might be on team replay. That's okay. You'll be watching the replay, not live with me. No worries, but know when you're live with me, we're always going to save room at the end so I can answer any questions that you have and give you feedback on what you might actually create or walk through and are walking through this together. So, if you are new to my world, I'm Kristen Durante. I'm a kingdom business strategist, and I love helping that kingdom woman who knows that she's called to the online marketplace build, create, and launch a business by God's design. What is a business by God's design? One that's profitable, impactful, and sustainable without being a slave to social media, and one that creates consistent, consecutive, and predictable revenue. All right. So that's my name of my game, what I love helping with. And what I also love helping with, which I stepped into at the end of February, is Substack, helping these women, my clients, and you position Substack as that front end pathway, that front end offer to your mid and high tickets. So that's what we're going to be talking about today a little bit as well. And I have a special offer for those of you who want to take that a step further. I want to start by naming something that you may have started to see or feel or even hear in the online space show up in message feeds. It's summertime. It's summertime in Michigan. Let me know where you are, what state you are, if it's starting to see seasons changing. I love the summertime. I actually love all seasons, but I love summer. And I have this inclination that a lot of my clients have said this too, but when summer hits, we tend to think we need to set our business aside or slow down, right? We hear a lot of people saying how you hustle, hustle, hustle maybe in the winter months and then so that you can slow down in the summer or so that you can protect your energy, rest this summer, okay? And I want to be very clear. I am not anti-rest. I am not anti take a break. I talked about this on the podcast I released Monday. So if you have not yet listened to the podcast, the Kingdom Business Revolution podcast, and the episode I released Monday, go listen. I dive more into this on how to not slow down in the summer, why you shouldn't slow down in the summer, because it's against even how God created creation, right? We're taught that January is the new year, new you, let's go hard, when that's totally against even how God created creation. It's against the biblical calendar when the winter, the creation and animals and his creation are hibernating, resting during the winter months. Spring is a time of growth and planting the seeds. We do totally opposite. So I talked about that on the podcast. You can listen to it anywhere you listen to podcasts, or you can go to the Kingdom Lens on Substack on the main page here on the website and click podcast. And it's that highlighted episode because I just released that. All right. So I'm not anti rest. I definitely take a Sabbath. I rest during the week. I even have breaks in the week set aside. But what I'm telling you is that there is a difference between a strategic pause and a momentum leak in your business. Okay. And right now, a lot of women are confusing the two. And I know I used to confuse the two as well. Here is the business reality. We are always operating 90 days ahead of our business. So what you do today is 90 days ahead. You reap what you sow 90 days ahead. I even talked about that in the podcast too. I grew up on a farm. My dad wouldn't just expect that corn to grow so he could harvest it in the fall if he didn't do something this spring. They are up and down that I'm looking out my window, up and down that road because my parents' farm are right out my window. I live right down the road from them. They are constantly moving and shaking and planting the seed so they can reap the harvest. He wouldn't just pray and ask the Lord to provide a harvest if he didn't do the work. Okay. The same thing with your business, always 90 days ahead. And what you build in June is what you harvest in September. And when we go quiet, because it's the summer months, we're not just resting. You are writing a check that you're going to cash at the worst possible time before Q4, quarter four of 2026, when you need your business to accelerate. Okay. Think of it like this. What happens when you turn the car engine while you're driving uphill? What happens if you turn it off, I should say? Can anyone tell me? If you're driving up the hill and also you turn the engine off, what's going to happen, right? It's going to slowly start rolling back down the hill. So stopping in summer is like cutting the engine off while driving uphill. When we think we're pausing, but physics doesn't work that way. And neither does your business because you actually start rolling backwards. And by September, so if we take a pause in June, July, August because kids are home or because my ideal client's not buying, well, we're going to talk about today how to get in the operating reality of your ideal client and create these 20% transformational, I call trust pathway offers for what they need in the season that they're in so that you can be making consistent revenue for these months. And then you got them that transformation. They're going to want what's next. They're going to want your mid and high ticket offer and what's next. So you're going to have people who are already purchasing from you, getting results from you, and working with you in June, July, and August, and however you set these up. And they're going to be ready for that what's next in September. So you're not going to have to be pushing the car up the hill in September. You have constantly kept moving forward. Okay. So that's what I want for you. I don't want you rolling backwards in June, July, and August. And by September, you're not at that starting line or the ending line, however you want to picture it. In September, I don't want you at the ditch, right? When the hill rolled backwards with a dead battery. And then you have to spend all September, August. Oh my goodness, why can't I remember? September, October, November, getting that car started again and pushing so you can have a big Q4 or January and February and then do it all over again. We don't want to do that. That's not moving you forward when you're in your stop, start cycle. Can anyone resonate with me here on this? Is anyone have gone through this? I know I have. Totally transparent. That's how I used to run my business until I actually understood this. Let me know if it's landing with you. Do I have the right people in the room? Just give me a heart, a thumbs up, something. Let me know if I have the right people in the room if this is clicking, right? I call this the momentum tax. Okay. Going dark in the summer means spending September pushing a dead engine from a complete stop. You spend all of Q4 just getting back to where you were in May. Okay. You never actually move forward. You're just recovering because September restarts you instead of in constant acceleration. All right. So here's two real questions I want you to understand underneath all of this. And I want you to sit with these questions, whether now or watching the replay. Are you actually tired of your business, or are you tired of what it costs you to stay visible on social media? If you're on social media, some of you may be still trying to do the grind of social media, because those are two different problems and they require two completely different solutions. Are you actually tired of your business because you've been grinding and hustling and trying to pick things back up September, October, November, December, January, February, and now it's summer? Like, oh my goodness, I need to relax because I'm not where I want to be yet, because you've still been stop starting, right? Or are you tired of what it costs you to stay visible on social media? And then, do you actually have an offer that converts during the times when the current operating reality of your ideal client looks different? Yes, it's summer, right? It's summertime here in Michigan, but you need to be thinking about this all year round. Each and every single one of you watching, listening, watching the replay, you have a different ideal client. You have a different business. Each ideal client has a different operating reality in different seasons of the year. Okay. You have to take this and put on like the kingdom lens and look through what I'm talking about as it relates to your business, because there's different nuances. Okay. What seasons do your clients go through? Just not the seasons, fall, winter, spring, right? But right now, think about that. What season are they in? And do you have a customizable trust pathway offer that makes the most sense during that season? Something that leads to your deeper work. Okay. If you don't understand what that means, please drop that in the chat. I'm assuming by now most people in my world understand what I mean when I say a trust pathway offer that leads to your mid and high ticket. It's something that we'll talk more about that, but it creates trust. It provides a right now solution to a right now problem that they have. And you provide massive value that, oh my goodness, this was a no brainer, easy yes offer I stepped into. And now I'm going to want what's next from Margaret, from Jackson, from Lucy, from Monique, from Cynthia, because she just provided massive value in this easy yes offer. And this easy yes customizable offer is something that you need to have in the current season that they're in, the current operating reality of your ideal client. So let's look at who here, please let me know in the chat, or if you're watching the replay, drop it in the comment below. Who here has always been tempted to go, I call it go dark in the summer, or just set your business on the burner in the summer and do enjoy your family, enjoy this. And I'm not saying that's bad, but I'm saying that if you don't have consecutive, predictable, reoccurring revenue in your business, working like a well-oiled machine, meaning that you know that even if you don't do a live launch, or if you don't do a live, that you have conversations that lead to sales, that you are creating consecutive 3K, 5K, 10K months on a consistent basis, that you could take a month off, a month or two off, and it's still going to work like a well-oiled machine because you planted the seeds and you've kept moving forward. If that's not you and that's not your business, taking summer off, like I said, is just having your car roll backwards and then you have to pick it up again in September. So I want you to look at, if this was you, like, yeah, I wanted to go dark in the summer, or I have gone dark in the summer, or I haven't done as much in the summer because I haven't got to where I wanted to be and I just wanted to have summers off, right? Maybe that was you. I know that's been me in the first couple years of my business in 2019, 2020. That's where I was until I realized that that's not the case. I can't be doing that. I'm a business owner. I want to make predictable consecutive revenue so I can be home raising my little one, which I was able to do to turn my resignation in 2021. So why are we tempted to go dark, or why have we wanted to just put the business on the burner? It's probably because you have been told to stay relevant. You've you've been told to be a content creator first and then be a business owner second, or that you have to post every single day, ride every single trend on Instagram, perform for an audience that scrolled past the point 0.3 seconds that scrolled past your post, point 0.3 seconds after you spent an hour making a graphic, creating an image on social media, right? That was me. Chances are you're not burnt out on your calling. You're not burnt out on the business that God is calling you to create. You're burnt out on being a content creator, performing for the algorithm, trying to figure out the algorithm, and you're tired of auditioning for an algorithm that doesn't have a soul, that doesn't have your best interests in mind, that doesn't even know your name or care about your kingdom assignment. And chances are that's why you want to quit and rest in the summer, because it's just not working, right? But quitting isn't the answer. Changing the container in how you show up is. What you put on the front end of your business by God's design is what needs to change. So your Substack is the vehicle. Your business by God's design is the destination. Okay. Social media is not a business growth strategy. And the more that you can understand that Substack and monetizing Substack, even if you're on Substack or if you're new to Substack, understanding how to position your Substack strong, monetizing your Substack as that front end solution that taps into the current operating reality of where your ideal client currently is, that is the solution. And that is changing the container, not grinding on social media and posting to an algorithm that favors entertainment. We're not here to entertain. We're here to provide our deep thought leadership and have a business that wreaks havoc on the enemy, that creates kingdom wealth so you can give more and bless more. Kingdom CEOs don't try to figure out and chase algorithms. Okay. And I know none of you are that kingdom CEO that's chasing the algorithm, at least not anymore. Yes and amen. Can I get a yes and amen? Because today we're not talking about working more. We're talking about working on something that creates momentum and reoccurring revenue in your business. The momentum is what you get to capitalize on. And once you create that momentum, it's easier to stay going, right? My little one's learning how to ride a bike. He's like, "Oh, can you help me push this? Can you help me get it started?" And as soon as someone gives him a little bit of momentum, he's going, right? The same thing with your business. And that's what Substack is. And positioning it strong, it gives you that oomph to create that momentum. All right. Now, I want you to grab something to write on a second. I'm going to do a screen share because I have a teaching tool. Sometimes we all learn a little bit different. And you're going to have this afterwards. Let me share the screen. And it's going to probably look a little silly as I'm showing it. Perfect. All right. The current operating reality framework. You should all be able to see it. I see it on my end. Give me a heart or something if you can see it. Uh-oh, what did I do here now? Didn't want to do that. Dun, dun, dun. All right, the current operating reality framework. Let's see. We're just going to, I want my notes up here so I don't forget anything. All right. So grab something to write on. We're going to build your summer trust pathway map together right now. This is your working document for the entire season. By the time we're done, you'll have a map that tells you exactly what your buyer needs, what she can receive, and where your business needs to meet her before September if you want to continue on building momentum and not go dark in the summer months. Most businesses lose sales in the summer, not because people stop buying. Hear this now. If this is landing, hit this in the comments. Let me know. Most businesses don't lose sales in the summer because people stop buying, but because they are still selling the same way in June that you sold in January. All right. Without accounting for the fact that your ideal client, your buyer's life has completely changed. Okay. Here's the truth nobody really is naming out loud. Most of you are treating your ideal client like a cardboard cutout you built in a workshop 3 years ago. Who filled out those ideal client avatars? I despise those things. Your ideal client is a real person, not an avatar that is on a worksheet, okay? Not this cardboard cutout you built in a ideal client avatar worksheet 3 years ago. You are talking to a woman who doesn't exist anymore if you're still talking to that person. Assuming your ideal client's a woman. I'm gonna assume that for the sake of this training, your ideal client are women. The actual person you're trying to reach to, the woman you're trying to reach has moved on. Her life has shifted. Her capacity has shifted. Her operating reality has shifted. So, are you still sending messages to a ghost of who she was in February? Come on, I need someone, like, to give me some thumbs up if this is landing, okay? Let me know. Are you still talking to the person you were trying to talk to in January and February? Your buyer is not buying from a worksheet. She buys from her current operating reality. She buys from the pressure that she's under today, and she buys from the decision she is trying to make this week, not the aspiration she has for next year. All right. So the current operating reality isn't just a concept, it's a diagnostic, diagnostic tool. Okay. I need you to understand that you need to diagnose where your ideal client is in the current environment that she's in. And each and every single one of you, your ideal client is in a different environment. Okay. We're all in a different environment since 2020, right? We are all in a different economy since 2020. You also have to take that into consideration as well. All right. It is the live environment your buyer is making decisions inside of right now, not her demographics, not her dream outcome, and not the polished version she presents on a sales call with you or on social media. It's what she's thinking at 10 p.m. when no one's watching. All right. And yes, you've heard like what's keeping her up at 2 a.m. That's what you need to understand. And it looks different in each season. What keeps someone up at 2 a.m. in January as a business owner is different from what keeps someone up at 2 a.m. in July, August, September, or September, October, November. I know my ideal client has start her business in the summer and put it on the back burner or slowed down. And she's not where she wanted to be yet. And she's just like, "Mm, I'll pick it up again in September, October, November, and I'll grind because new year, new you." It doesn't work that way because you need the momentum going on. So I know that the current operating reality of my ideal client right now, I'm getting into her head. You can't continue working and operating a business this way if you want to have kingdom wealth, a 10K consecutive months to reach 6 figures, to reach 7 figures, so you can make impact and income. Okay. So, what is the current operating reality of your person right now? Not her dream outcome, not the polished version, what she's going on in her head at 10 p.m. when no one's watching, 2 a.m. when she's waking up in the current season that she's in. I'm going to give you some questions on how you can map this out. Okay. What is one thing away from dropping? Right. She's got all these glass balls. What is that one thing from dropping? What is she Googling, resenting? What is she quietly putting off and lying awake about? The mistake that most kingdom women in business make is that they build an ideal client profile once and then they market to that imaginary person forever. You fill out this worksheet, you know your age, she wants more freedom or income or peace or whatever that is. And then you treat that document like permanent truth. And that's not, you can't do that. If you've been doing that, stop, right? Because your buyer is living, she's in motion. The woman who was ready to overhaul her business in January might be trying to survive summer months with 3 kids home in June. The founder who wanted to scale last quarter might be in a cash flow stress this quarter. Same person, different operating reality. Is this making sense? Is this landing? It's also a different buying psychology, which needs different entry points. If you serve Christian women who have young kids, I gave you this example in the podcast, right? Where is her current operating reality right now at the end of May? She's focused on getting these kids done for school and ready for summer. She's focused on her to-do list. Who's watching the kids? When's summer camp? Who's taking them? That's her focus. That's her current operating reality. She doesn't want a 12-month program right now. Okay. Your job is not to ask who your ideal client is. Your job is to ask what is happening in her life right now. In her life, in her business, if she owns a business, you serve women in business, in her schedule, in her finances, in her decision making right now, what is happening? Because that changes how she buys. And this is exactly true throughout the entire year. If you can grab onto this concept right now and get into the current operating reality of where your ideal client is right now in May, heading into June, July, and the summer months, you're going to understand how to do the same thing when it comes into October, November, December, when we come into the winter time, the biggest buying season of the year, and into January, February, into the new year. Each and every season looks different in their life, in their circumstances, in their family, and that determines how she buys. If you've been trying to sell a full-blown transformational 5K offer to a mom in summer, that's probably not going to be the best offer for you. That's why it hasn't been working. Okay. What can you put on the front end? That's a small, minor offer, customizable offer that doesn't dilute. We're not saying dilute your transformation, but what can you give her access to right now? Yes, Tina, she does not need, I think you meant to say she does not need, she does not need or want a 12-month program right now. Chances are. Okay. So your job is not to ask who your ideal client is. Your job is to ask what is happening in her life, her business, her schedule, her finances, everything right now, because that changes how she buys. And that is the question that separates the businesses that sell in the summer months from the ones that go quiet and hope September's better, because it's not going to get better. If you put it on the back burner, and you just hope that September they're going to want your 12-month program or your 6-month program. It doesn't work that way. All right. You're trying to sell a winter size commitment, heavy, long, high bandwidth to a woman with summer sized capacity. And when you do that, she does not say no because she doesn't want that result or that full blown transformation. She says no because she can't see where the heck she's supposed to put it in between swim seasons and vacation and summer camps. You're not failing at sales. You're just failing at understanding your ideal client's current operating reality. Okay. And I'm giving you the mom with kids example because that's me. And that's some of my ideal clients. But chances are you need to get in the operating reality of your ideal client, right? On your offer, that full-blown transformation that she wants and where she is right now. So that you aren't selling a winter size commitment to a woman with a summer size capacity of wherever she is in that current operating reality. All right. So we haven't even got to these yet. Maybe we have. I'm gonna walk you through some questions, but I'm still like, we haven't brought this full circle yet. Don't worry, we will. So to make this concrete, I already said this. So if your ideal client, I'm gonna rush through this real quick. If your ideal client is a kingdom woman with a family, here's what her actual life works right now. School just ended, or is ending this week. Her kids are home all day, every day. The rhythm she spent 9 months building just evaporated overnight. All right. She's managing camps, sports, travel logistics, family obligations, and trying to keep her business moving inside a completely different structure. So, this is kind of like my ideal client. Not all of my ideal clients have young kids, but majority of them do. And I know that she doesn't have the same 2-hour focus morning block she had in February, right? Especially if she doesn't work a 9 to 5 or she does work to 9 to 5. Like I'm painting you this picture here. Her mental load just went up, not down. Same thing with yours in different seasons. Summer has not even fully started yet, and that's not her pain point. That is the environment she is making buying decisions from right now. This isn't a pain point for her that your kids are home. I mean, I despise when people do that. Like, your kids are home now and XYZ, you have less time. It's the environment that she is currently in, her current operating reality, and it's where she makes buying decisions from right now. All right. So the current operating reality framework. Dun, dun, dun. Your ideal client is not a statistic. The woman who's ready to overhaul, for me, her business in January might be trying to survive summer with kids at home in June. Think through your ideal client right now. Where is she in January? Where is she now? Right? In January, if you serve someone that wants to lose, like, her New Year's resolution is to lose her that 50 or 100 pounds, right? That was she was gung ho. Where is her operating reality now if she didn't reach that goal? She's feeling deflated that summer's here and she's now not looking good in her swimsuit. She doesn't want that full blown transformational, like, 9-month program of let's get you losing weight. She wants just a simple, like, somebody finally help me figure out how to read these ingredients, create a healthy meal plan that will get me and the kids by this summer so I don't put on more weight, right? That's where you got to get into that current operating reality. So the client who needed a full transformation 6 months ago now needs a simpler, lower friction first step. Same person, different operating reality. Okay. So once again, your job is not to ask who's my ideal client. You know that. Your job is to ask what's happening in their life right now, in their business, in their mind, their schedule, their money, their decision making process, because that changes how she buys. And when you understand it, you stop forcing the wrong invitation in the wrong season. You stop trying to sell that winter size commitment to a woman with a summer size capacity. And this is the most important part. You stop assuming that her no, your ideal client's no means she didn't want the transformation. Because most of the time the no means I can't carry that right now. I don't know where this is going to fit and where I currently am. I need a simpler first step. I don't know who you are. I need to trust you first. Insert that trust pathway. I want the outcome, but the path feels too heavy. I'm not ready to commit 6 or 12 months. The transformation may still be right, but how you packaged it, the pace, the entry point, the message, and the invitation may need to shift. So when we talk about the current operating reality, there is let me get this screen, a 5-part framework that you need to ask yourself. And this is where I said, grab a pen and paper, answer these questions, come back through. You're going to get this teaching tool. You're also going to get, once I throw the transcript in my notes in Claude, you're going to get a work through and a workbook when you come back onto this replay. But I want you to understand these are the 5 steps you need to go through. What changed in her world? So put those in the chat. Let me know when something comes up. Focus on your ideal client. The one question you need to ask to get in the current operating reality in different seasons and different lives and different things. If your 12-month program isn't selling, you need to take a step back and not re-niche or niche down or change your entire offer. You need to get into the current operating reality of your ideal client. First, starting with you, because chances are you are your ideal client, just few months, years removed, and then do market research if you need to, so that you can answer these questions. One, what changed in her world? Start with a context. Don't assume her life looks the same as it did 3 months ago or 6 months ago. Yours doesn't even. And even if your home life, your marriage, or everything else didn't change, the outside world is changing. Our economy is changing. So you have to ask these questions. Don't assume that your ideal client looks the same 3 months ago or 6 months ago as she does today, or even when you first built that ideal client profile. Okay. You need to ask, how is her schedule different right now? Is her schedule different? Is her family life different? Is her business, if she has a business, under more pressure? Is cash flow tighter? Is she more distracted, burnout, skeptical? Now, I know a lot of you don't serve, some of you probably don't serve Christian women in business. You serve them in different ways, or your ideal client's different, or maybe not even Christian. That's okay. You're called to serve the secular world. Totally fine. You still need to get into what changed in her world. Is she more distracted? Is she entering a slower season, a busier season, a caregiving season? Maybe you serve empty nesters, right? What season are they in? This is where you stop marketing to a frozen avatar and you start paying attention to the real person that you are called to serve in real time. Okay. I hope this is landing for you all. Let me know. Because the offer, most of the time, is not the problem, especially if you've had a validated offer before. Okay, the timing is, the bandwidth of your person is, the container is could be the problem, and the entry point is the problem. Okay. The second question is, what does she desperately want right now? Okay. This is the missing piece. Question two cannot just be, what does she desperately want? You hear it all the time when coaches say, well, what problem do you solve? What does your person want? All of that's great, but we're getting in the current operating reality of your ideal client. So you can create a customizable trust pathway offer so that you don't go dark this summer. You are going to be creating this so you don't go dark this summer, so that you're not trying to push that car back up the hill in September. We want to keep the momentum in your business, which will still allow you to have summer with your family. All right. So, what does she desperately want right now? That's the key, right now. Because she still wants, and she may still want, she does still want that 100% transformation that you help with. Okay. But her current operating reality determines what 20% transformation she can say yes to right now. I'm going to let that sit a second and take a sip of my water. She still wants the 100% transformation, but the current operating reality she's in right now determines what 20 or 30% transformation she has the capacity for right now and can say yes to right now. So the sharper question becomes, what does she, your ideal client, desperately want right now that gets her 20% closer to the 100% transformation that she desires? Okay. Don't assume just because your ideal client wants the full transformation that she has the current capacity to say yes to the 100% transformation right now. She may still want that 100% result. She may still want that healed marriage. She may still want that profitable business. She may still want that weight loss, those consistent sales. She still may want to calm the nervous system. She still may want a stronger leadership or that full life change, right? Whatever that is. But in her current operating reality, she only has 20% capacity for that transformation. And that 20% transformation gets her moving. Is this making sense? Whew. When I grabbed onto this, I'm like, boom. I don't have stalled months anymore because I get in the operating reality of my ideal client. I have conversations and I make that 20% or 30% transformational offer. Then eventually leads them to the full-blown 100% transformation, my Business by God's Design advisory, where you get a profitable business, one that creates consecutive, consistent revenue by understanding your offers, your ideal client, creating authority and your lead generation system into your sales conversion system and delivery, because there's only three things that you are required to do is your job description in your Business by God's Design: marketing, sales, and delivery. And when you can put systems in place and get those done so it works like a well-oiled machine, you have a Business by God's Design. And this is also, Jody said, yes, I agree. Amen. I'm glad this is hitting this landing. So she has 20 capacity for that 20% transformation that gets her moving, that gets her in momentum. This is where your marketing gets much sharper. Okay. Because you're not asking, what does she ultimately want? Like most coaches tell you to do. You're asking, what does she desperately want right now that would move her 20% closer to that full transformation. And that is how you position your Substack and your tiers to monetize Substack on the front end of your business and create that trust pathway eventually into your paid or your mid and high ticket tiers. I mean, I hope this is like mind blowing emoji right now because this is phenomenal. And how Substack helps you do this is absolutely amazing. I love Substack. All right. That was a planting the seed for this offer that I'm going to invite you into if that's the next step eventually. But we're still moving through because you're moving through your current operating reality framework right now on a piece of paper with your ideal client. Because right now, she might not be able to overhaul everything in her life or her business. She just wants relief. She wants that first win. She wants a simpler plan. She may need the clarity. She needs that momentum, but she needs just one piece of that bigger transformation solved so she can breathe again. All right. Let me give you an example. So, for the woman who wants to lose 50 pounds, she may not have the capacity for a full fitness plan, nutrition overhaul during the summer while driving her kids to sports, managing camps, feeding everyone, and living out of her car. Can I get a yes and amen, somebody? She desperately wants someone, though, to help her create simple, healthy meals for her family and herself that her family, her kids, or picky kids will actually eat. That's the 20% transformation. Here's another example. The entrepreneur who wants to scale to consistent 10K months may not have the capacity for the full business rebuild right now, but she may desperately want to know what to sell this month so she can create cash flow without launching a giant program. That's the 20% transformation. The Christian mom who wants to feel peaceful, present, connected to God without napping at her kids this summer may not have the capacity for a deep inner healing journey in this chaotic season, but she may desperately want a 10-minute daily rhythm and for you to walk alongside of her for maybe a week or two to help her stop snapping at her kids and start to stay grounded. That's the 20% transformation. The coach who wants a full brand and messaging overhaul may not be ready to build her entire business, but she may desperately want one clear message she can confidently talk about this week. 20% transformation, right? Here's one more example and then we'll move on. The woman who wants to get off social media and build an owned audience may not be ready for a complete Substack monetization ecosystem and how to pull the thread through, like I teach, all the way through to your mid and high ticket. But she may desperately want to know what her publication and her newsletter should be about, who's it's for, and what her first 3 posts should be. That's a 20% transformation. So that's the key. Your ideal client still wants that big 100% outcome, but she buys that next believable step. What feels possible in the current season that she's in. So when you are identifying what she desperately wants right now in step 2, ask. And remember, you'll get these. If in the workbook that I'll create afterwards, what is the 100% transformation she ultimately desires? Write that down. What is the 20% transformation she has capacity for right now? What would give her immediate relief? And what would help her feel like she's getting momentum? She got a win and she's moving again. What is the first win that would make the bigger transformation feel possible? And what is part of that bigger promise, or what part of the bigger promise feels most urgent in this current season? This is what keeps you from shrinking your full blown transformation. I don't want you to shrink it. I don't want you to water down the results you hope to get people because you get people amazing results. I don't want you to water that down. What you're doing is creating a different entry point, the right entry point for where she needs to enter into your world in the current operating reality and season that she's in. You're showing her, I see the full transformation you want, but I understand the reality you're living right now. You have kids at home, you're doing XYZ, you're this, right? Let's start with this first step that fits your current capacity. That is how your offer becomes an easier yes. That is how your content feels more relevant to where they currently are. And this is how your invitation, that offer, meets her in the actual moment she's in. Okay. What does she want in the middle of her actual current reality that she has capacity for? Step two. Then step three, what is blocking action right now? This is where a lot of marketing gets lazy and a lot of, I'm not bashing coaches, but other business coaches get lazy teaching this as well. Because your client may not be saying no because she doesn't want the outcome. And you don't have to reposition your message better. Your message works for maybe in January or February in the winter months, right? So we just need to hone in on what's working and get into the operating reality of your ideal client. She may be saying no because the path you're presenting feels too heavy for the season she's in. Okay. I hope you're getting some mindset shifts right now. Chances are you have a good offer. And even if you haven't validated it yet, meaning someone gave you money, chances are you still probably have a good offer. It's just that the way you're positioning it and getting in the current operating reality of a client avatar you created 3 years ago isn't working. She may be saying no because what you're presenting feels too heavy for the season that she's in. So, what is blocking the action? Look for these real blocks of I don't have time. I don't know if I trust myself to follow through. Like, what is she saying? I can't make another expensive mistake. What else? I'm overwhelmed. Like, look for those signals. But this is where you adjust your container again, the front end pathway, without watering down that transformation. Because the answer isn't to create a cheaper offer. This isn't what we're doing. We're not cheapening. Is that even a word? We're not making your offer cheap. We're not watering something down. We're creating a clearer first step, a shorter sprint, a simpler decision, a low friction invitation, a faster win, a more relevant bridge. So you need to find the gap between the 100% desire, the 100% transformation that she wants in her current capacity. You guys drop it in the chat. Afterwards, we'll work through this if you want to. What is that gap for you? Because once you know what she wants right now, all you have to do is identify why she's not already taking action. This is where you look for that gap between the 100% transformation she wants and the current reality she's in. Because the problem isn't desire. It may be that she wants the result really bad. But the problem is the capacity. She wants to lose the weight. She doesn't have time to cook complicated meals. She wants to grow her business, but she can't handle another bloated course. She wants to have consistent clients, but she's afraid to invest in a 10K offer again because insert trust recession, she has invested in courses, programs, and people that have overpromised, underdelivered, and she's been burned. What is that current operating reality of your person? Okay, what's blocking that? And then let me give you, because if she's burnt out, right? Reduce the mental load. If she's confused, give her clarity before complexity. You're not abandoning that 100% transformation. You're creating the 20% entry point that makes the 100% transformation feel possible. And then four, what has she already tried? And why does it feel heavy right now? This is the fastest way to understand buyer psychology. You're not asking what she's tried so you can give her a list of failed attempts. You're asking because everything she's already tried shapes what she now trusts, what she distrusts, what she avoids, and what she can realistically follow through on. Okay? So ask, what did she buy before? What has she tried to do herself? What is she skeptical of? This matters because your ideal client is not coming to you or to your offer with a blank slate. This is what I talk about speaking to your level 10. When I work with my clients, we speak to their level 10. And I teach them how to speak to their level 10 because your person's already been doing the thing. She's already been trying to solve the problem. That's your level 10. Your person isn't down here wondering what her problem is. You've got to speak to all of these levels, but we are selling to your level 10. And this matters because She's coming with a history. She's tried the meal plan. She's downloaded the free guide. She's bought the course. She's joined the program. She bought the t-shirt. She's wearing the t-shirt, right? She's done the thing. And now in her current operating reality, she's asking different questions. She's not only asking, will this works? She's asking, can I do this right now? And can I trust Jody? Can I trust Tina? Can I trust Crystal? Can I trust Catherine to get me this result? And that question changes everything because if she's already tried something that required too much time, too much energy, too many decision makings, too many calls, too many steps, whatever, right? She's going to resist anything that smells like more tools or pressure or homework, especially in the current operating reality that she's in. That's why your offer cannot simply just promise that 100% transformation. We get to position it as the 20% transformation that feels possible. Okay. The woman who wants to lose weight may have tried strict meal plans, macro tracking, complicated grocery lists, and workouts, right? They required a perfect schedule, but now it's summer. Her kids are home. They're running to sports. She wants the 20% transformation. Give me simple, healthy meals my family will actually eat that I can make without rebuilding my whole life. And then maybe give me 1 session, 2 sessions with you where we can walk through that together. You do a customizable plan with her. Okay. All righty. We're at 4. And this is where your ideal client map, the current operating reality framework, gets really, really powerful when you can identify what they've already tried and then position your customizable summer trust pathway offer to meet that and speak into that. And that's how you get out of, I should say, generic marketing, something that sounds like everyone else when you're tapping into her current operating reality. And then the 5th is, what is that right next invitation? Build the offer that feels like relief, not obligation. And it's not like you're creating your whole other thing. You're taking a piece out of your offer or a piece out of where you're meeting her right now. And maybe you need to create a new offer. That's okay. I'm going to show you how you can do it relatively simply in a second here. But what are you going to do? What offer are you going to sell that matches the invitation to the current operating reality that she's in or your ideal client's in? Okay. That is your summer offer. So, what would relief feel like? What would feel like relief? What is that 20% trust pathway offer that meets her where she is right now? Not another obligation, right? Write that down. That's your summer offer. It's not a sprint that's general or a workshop that's general. Or, for example, join my summer fitness sprint. It's walk away with a simple 7-day summer meal plan for your family that your family will actually eat so you can stop winging dinner between practices and still feel like you're taking care of your health. Yeah, it's not join this business intensive. It's walk away with one clear summer offer, one simple message, and one direct invitation you can use this week to create cash flow without launching a full program. It's not, for me, I would say, hey, come learn Substack. No, but walk away knowing exactly what your Substack's about, who's it's for, what your first 3 posts should be, and how you can start building your trust pathway without depending on social media, right? Maybe for those of you in mindset, it's not join my mindset workshop. It's walk away with a 10-minute daily reset that helps you stop spiraling, reconnect to God, and lead your day with peace, even when your house is loud and your schedule's full. What is that right next invitation? That's the 20% transformation that meets her where she is at. All right. The current operating reality for her is where she feels seen. She starts to pay attention, trust begins, and then buying becomes possible. Okay. That is the key. She feels seen in her current reality. She pays attention, trust begins, and then buying becomes possible. Let me check the chat here a second, see if there's any questions. All right. So, and then your ideal client also starts to feel like, hey, this is for me. This was written for me, or she gets me. And you sound different than everyone else out there. All right. So the core question, once again, is not who's my ideal client, is what is the current operating reality of my ideal client? And when you can give them the right invitation, and that invitation is the answer in the bridge between her current operating reality and the future transformation she wants, you have an aligned offer, a trust pathway offer that allows you not to go dark in summer, still have momentum in your business, that creates an easy yes, that allows you to give your ideal client momentum so that when summer, you're working with this through summer, however you set this up, is they're ready in September to merge into your mid and high ticket. That's how you stop selling from assumption and start selling from discernment, right? Because when you know what has changed in their world, what she desperately wants, what's blocking her from action, and what she's already tried, that invitation is just an easy yes. It makes sense in her season. Okay. Like I said, you don't need a whole new niche or a whole brand new transformational, results based transformational offer. You need that summer doorway. You need a summer doorway. The summer doorway is shorter, it has a sharper entry point and meets her exactly where she is. It gives her a real win, builds genuine trust with you, and positions her for deeper work when the seasons shift. Okay. Your main transformation doesn't have to shrink. The entry point changes to fit it. Okay. My 100% transformation, a sustainable business by God's design ecosystem. The 20% you need this summer is your front end trust pathway that we just talked about, built on Substack, positioned, monetized, and activated before September. Okay. So if you're sitting there thinking, I have no idea how to make my deep transformational offer feel light enough for summer, well, one, stop guessing. You have me at the end. You can ask me. But if you're also building on social media right now and you know that your message needs a home that actually holds the offer where you can create your deep thought leadership, here's where I want to bring everything kind of full circle because everything we just talked about applies to your business too. Your ideal client has that current operating reality, but so do you. And right now, your current operating reality might be this, your message matters. You're called to build something bigger and not to go dark in the summer. And you know that you don't want to continue fight the algorithms on social media. You can't keep creating content that disappears in 24 hours and then wonders why people don't see your stuff on social media because only 2% sees what you post. And sending someone from a random post into your mid and high ticket is a leap, especially during this current operating reality of your ideal client. And you want that 20% transformation that creates relief for them. That's not your whole business because you also want to have some time in the summer, right? So you want to build the front end trust pathway that gives your message a home, gathers the right people, warms them up, and creates that next natural step into your world. And that's why I created the Substack Summer Sprint. Now, some of you may have already heard about this. I did send an to email out to the paid subscribers yesterday and a few of my private clients. But the Substack Summer Sprint is a 6-week founding member cohort. It's 4 weeks of implementation and 2 weeks of bonus weeks because summer, where we build Substack as the front porch of your business. So this is for you if you're building on social media right now and your message needs a home, or if you already have a Substack, but you haven't positioned it or monetized it as that front trustway pathway offer and got into the current operating reality of your ideal client so that you don't go dark this summer and have to push the car back up the hill in September and get your business started again. You can continually see momentum throughout the next couple months by tapping into your current operating reality of your ideal client and positioning your Substack strong. In 6 weeks, we're going to have your front porch built. when I say front porch, because that's the front end of your offer where people come in, right? When you meet someone, they don't all of a sudden come right into your kitchen, right? Or into your house, right? You meet them on the front porch with a cup of sweet tea and you have a conversation with them. That's your Substack, where we position your message, we position your publication, and we create that free to paid pathway mapped in Substack with those paid tiers into what is your summer doorway, that trust pathway offer. Okay. And I'm going to drop the link in here a second. Whoops. Because so you can see that in the 4 weeks, we're going to be working through step by step by step, and you'll see what we're going to be doing each and every week. You're going to have daily action items that are simple, that will take 30 to 60 minutes, if that, to complete in order to have your Substack position strong. It's not random training. I'm not going to be doing just this, this, and this. You are walking through a process to position your Substack and create that front porch and build that summer doorway and get into the current operating reality of your ideal client so that you can monetize Substack on the front end and create that trust pathway that lets your business keep moving this summer without you becoming a slave to social media. And if you're thinking, well, I'm not ready, I don't have a Substack yet, well, that's what we're going to do together. But if you're thinking, well, I already have a Substack, I just want to try to keep going or try to get it going, well, once again, that's what we're going to do together. No one is ever ready, right, to do that thing. But if you're tired of the start, stop, start cycle, especially during these summer months, yes, you can take what I give you. You can watch this replay. You yourself can get in the current operating reality from those steps that I gave you with your ideal client. And you can do this on your own. But if you want to use Substack as this amazing trust pathway offer and monetize it, because it is phenomenal, it is phenomenal to monetize, position it, get in the current operating reality of your ideal client and pull the thread through. So then when September comes, you can merge them into your mid and high ticket offers. So let's get that done. You don't have to be ready. We help you get ready. All right. And here's also the truth that no one's really talking about. Even if you have built that perfect summer doorway, that trust pathway offer, if you gotten in the current operating reality of your ideal client, but if you're hosting this entire conversation on social media, or if you're trying to sell this offer on social media, we are working on a platform that's working against you. Okay. And I should say here before some people hop off or even come on, I'm only taking 15 women in this cohort. This is a founding member cohort. I'm only taking 15. And if you are a paid annual member of the Kingdom Lens, my publication, my Substack, you get a $150 off coupon. So you can go look at that. It's a Word document. It's the same thing that I'm going to teach you how to create in this Substack summer sprint together as a founding member summer pathway, trust pathway offer. You don't need a sales page. I already have one of these spots sold. You don't need a sales page. Okay. You don't need a sales page. I'm trying to get that to you. I've been saying this over and over again. You don't need a fancy funnel, a fancy sales page. This is it. And this is how we can help you monetize your Substack, position it strong, and then pull that thread through so you have a list of buyers that you gave them that summer trust pathway offer and sell your mid and high ticket to in September. You're not recreating or trying to start again and push that car up the hill in September after the summer months are over with. All right. And if you felt a weird tension when I said, like, stop playing for the algorithm, stop trying to audition for the algorithm when I talked about it in the earlier of this training, that's your intuition, your gut telling you that you're building on a platform that is not, does not have your kingdom assignment eh, in its best interests. Okay. On Substack, you do. It is absolutely amazing. I don't need to share Substack so much. If you're new here and you aren't sure what Substack is, DM me. I will get you the Substack info sessions that I did. But Substack is where I am putting the front end of my business and building that trust pathway offer and monetizing it. And what I will be teaching you inside the Substack summer sprint as well, because it can become your front porch, not just a blog, not just another platform to manage, but the front porch that helps you end performance and performing for the algorithm. And in 6 weeks, we are going to be positioning that for you. All right. And why it's so important that you understand how to position Substack and those paid tiers as that customizable offer that gets in the current operating reality of your ideal client is that a $10 paid tier or a $90 paid tier, whatever you position it as, that leads into the summer offer, which is that current operating reality of your ideal client. That $10 paid tier or $90 paid tier, it's not coffee money, okay? That is a validation layer because when someone moves from free subscriber to paid subscriber on Substack, she just self-identified as a buyer. She has moved from lurker to investor, okay? So you get to stop spending your summer chasing 10,000 people who will never pay you. You start leading with a 15 who already did. The paid tier tells you exactly who to pay attention to, so you can stop wasting your energy trying to play the algorithm Hunger Games in the summer. And those are the people that you create the 20% transformational offer for your summer months so that you're not wasting energy. You're keeping that momentum in your business because a woman, your ideal client who paid you 10, $15 a month or 90, 120 or whatever that is annually for your paid tier is thousands times more likely to pay you 297, 397, 497 for that 20% transformation, and then 5,000, 7,000 for your full-blown transformation when that season allows. Okay? That's how you pull the thread, and that's how you stop the lurkers from just scrolling past stories in on social media and doesn't even see your offer. Okay? This is buyer psychology. A micro commitment creates momentum towards that next commitment. Okay, so that's what we're doing together in the Substack Summer Sprint. We're positioning your Substack strong. You are actually going to be getting me in week 1, my eyes on your business, helping you with this positioning. This is valued at $297. In week 1, you complete my intake form. I personally generate your Substack positioning guide, your kingdom angle, and your business architecture. And I map your publication, the direction, the name, the tagline. Even if you already have a Substack, we're going to position it strong and you get my eyes on your business. All right, extracting your conviction pillars, making your voice impossible to ignore. I understand who your ideal client is and what that offer is, and I help you draw the bridge between your Substack and your mid and high ticket so that the entry path is clear and you're getting into the current operating reality of your ideal client and you have that customizable summer offer. I'm only taking 15 women because of that. This isn't a marketing trick or a gimmick or anything like that. These Substack monetization intensives I sell for $297. I sold 5 of them last month. It's one of the ways I'm pulling the thread, and it is a trust pathway offer of meeting my ideal client of where they are. You get this after week 1. My eyes on your business and the Substack positioning guide. It's worth its weight in gold just for that week. And then in week 2, we start to build. Once your position is locked in, then we move to build. There's no tech spirals. Even if you have been on Substack or you're on it now, you're still going to receive step-by-step implementation prompts to walk you through positioning your Substack. I can take a look at a lot of Substacks and I can even take a look at yours and do an audit and say, this is not pulling the thread through. So we set up your about page. We position it strong because your about page is not about you. We create your welcome sequence, your paid tier configuration, your first foundational posts, and by week 2, your front door is open. And then week 3, we move into the Substack monetization playbook and how to actually monetize Substack. You get my repurposing SOP and how to grow your Substack. No new content required. Okay. You have content out there. I'm certain of it, and I teach you how to do that. And then you open your summer doorway. That's week 4. You use my activation events that sell workbook and formula to design your one specific live selling activation event based on the current operating reality of your ideal client. You have a live session, something of like this, that gives your audience immediate results. Once again, you can take the current operating reality framework and go create your own front pathway offer that meets your ideal client on where they are. You're going to give them massive results, and then you're going to pull them into your paid tier or that deeper buyer pathway. So you'll leave week 4 with a fully planned event ready to run. And then week 5 and 6 are those buffer events. All right. Because it's summer, right? It's summer. That gives you buffer events. And you get to meet with me once a week. So once a week, we have an office hours where you can come ask questions, you can get feedback, and everything else. So I don't leave you doing this yourself. A lot of it's automated. A lot of it's going to be in a portal, day 1, day 2, day 3. But week 1, you're going to come into, we're going to have a onboarding session together. You're going to understand what you need to do, what you need to get to me in order for me to position your Substack strong and give you that Substack monetization guide so that you can continue to work forward in week 2, 3, and 4, and then those 2 bonus weeks that you actually also have with me. All right. So let me double check my notes here a second to make sure. And it is a founding member program. It's $597. But if you, let me get this out here a second. If you are a annual member of My Kingdom Lens, Substack by God's Design, your price is only $447. So there's links there. If you need the code and you are an annual member, you can get a code for the paid in full for $447, or you can get a paid or a coupon code for a 2-month payment plan. All right. So if you are an annual member and you need the code, drop code in the chat or DM me on Substack in the chat, because sometimes I lose the chat here. What questions do you have? How can I support you? Was this beneficial? Let me know in the chat. Hi, Jane. Hi, Mokian. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Let me know in the chat. Do you guys have any questions? How can I support you? You've got me. You're here. Does anyone need help with getting into the current operating reality of your ideal client? Are you just listening and can't be by your phone? I'm going to give it a second so you can drop it in the chat. I'm going to drop the link again to the Substack Summer Sprint. I'm only taking 15. One spot is gone, so there's 14 spots. So come on and join us. We're going to have so much fun together, positioning your Substack strong, making sure that it is ready to be monetized with those paid tiers. You're going to get my eyes on your customizable offer for summer so you can hop into and be in the operating reality of your current ideal client and create the momentum you need in these next 3 months so that when you head into September, you can pull that thread through and they can hop into your mid and high ticket. Good. I'm glad that it was beneficial. Tina says, definitely beneficial. Appreciate your perspective in serving in the summer. Yeah, you're welcome. So these are my favorite months. If you have not yet listened to that podcast episode I dropped on Monday, go listen to it. Yeah. Because the world does everything backwards. These are the months that we get to plant the seeds and grow our business and reap the harvest and keep the momentum going in the winter months. All right. No questions? Okie dokie. So the replay will be here on Substack once it gets processed. Have an amazing, blessed day.